It all starts in the castle, home of the Campbell family. The main guy starts wondering, wait a second, did Matt just die in a car crash? I mean, a car accident. Did I travel through time or something? This decoration looks kinda European, and that face in the mirror, it looks like me when I was 17 or 18. Except that doesn't make any sense because he's a lot older now. He takes another look, surprised, and yeah, he really was pretty good looking when he was younger, before turning into a broke, overweight mess. Just as he's coming to the conclusion that he's getting old, having those kinds of dreams where you reincarnate just because your life turned out miserable, he grabs a little knife and says he's gonna have to confirm it, and blood gushes out. He says it's just a small cut, though it hurts like hell, and he has to lick his fingers, saying this damn thing feels way too real. Then suddenly, the memories come rushing in. The guy he reincarnated into is named Moon Campbell. A poor guy who lost all of his titles, ended up turned into a beggar, and was abandoned by his family. His father even warned him never to set foot on their land again or he'd be killed without mercy. Apparently, he committed some terrible crime. He puts his hand over his face and says, "Damn, I thought this was just a coincidence, but it's not. Unfortunately, I transmigrated into that mentally challenged guy's body, the blonde-haired villain who wasn't even an elite or anything like that." He used to read this story for a long time. It was called The Protagonist, the strongest woman in history. And yeah, you already know what's coming just from the title. It's a cliché story. The only difference is that the main character is a woman. She's got a family that abandons her, and then she sets out into the world, develops her skills, slays monsters, and becomes a hero. At the start of the game, that blonde dude, Moon Campbell, is one of the early nuisances, sending a bunch of people to try and take her down. But she ends up leveling up like crazy. In the end, his plan gets wrecked, he gets kicked out of the mansion, exiled, and becomes a beggar. 20 chapters later, no one even remembers his name. Reincarnating is great and all, but not in the body of a character who's just a stepping stone for the protagonist to grow. Just then, someone knocks on the door. He says to come in, and the maid enters the room, asking what happened. He says it's nothing serious, and she tells him the clothes for tomorrow's banquet have already been delivered. He tells her to just leave them there. But at that moment, she notices something odd and asks if he got hurt. He says it was just an accident, nothing to worry about. But then $10 if you guess what she does next. Yup, she kneels down and helps clean the blood. She's seriously a motivated worker, definitely deserves a raise. And she even asks him to please stop hurting himself like that. The guy's blushing like crazy, thinking to himself that he's definitely going to remember this moment. Then she spins around like a top, says she's heading out, and tells him to take care of himself. As soon as she closes the door, he's sitting there, blushing like a fool, mumbling about how this world is perfect. He's covering his face and flailing side to side, totally over the moon that he's got an admirable maid. Obviously, he's a hopeless otaku. Meanwhile, the maid outside the room thinks it's weird that he said thank you. Of course, he must have been a total jerk before he reincarnated. Now our guy's wondering how someone who was born good-looking and into a noble family ended up with a cute maid but still thought it was a good idea to provoke the protagonist. The main reason he was exiled is apparently because he tried to drug the third princess or something like that. But now that he knows how that path turns out, he just needs to avoid it entirely. To make sure he keeps this cushy life, the first thing he has to do is be careful with that ceremony where all the chaos kicks off. Then it hits him. The maid with the thick thighs already brought the outfit for the banquet and mentioned it's happening tomorrow. At that point, the guy's rolling around in bed, calling out to the system, the goddess, grandpa, the monk, anyone who can give him a cheat or some kind of power-up. Problem is, if the banquet's already tomorrow, that means he's already done a lot of terrible stuff to the protagonist. He just hopes she doesn't go overboard, like stomping on his face or something. But if she does, hopefully she's wearing black tights and takes her time. Clearly, the guy's got, well, refined taste. But now he's made up his mind. Tomorrow, as soon as he sees her, he's going to run straight toward her, drop to his knees 3 times, and beg for forgiveness. Suddenly, something smacks him on the head and he turns, yelling to know who the hell did that. That's when he sees a little book on the bed. He immediately wonders if the cheat has arrived. He grabs it and says finally, God hadn't given up on him. He wasn't destined to be a loser forever. Now was the time to gain infinite knowledge and change his fate with his own hands. But when he opens the book, there's absolutely nothing inside. He starts wondering, does this thing need some kind of special activation? Stories usually take place in Europe. What's the deal with that? Right then, the book attacks by making his head bleed, and a drop of blood falls onto the page. A dark aura rises, and he starts wondering what's going on. His vision begins to blur, and suddenly he finds himself with his hands and feet restrained. His neck too. He's all beaten up. Slowly, he opens his eyes and wonders where he is when this creepy girl shows up saying he slept for quite a while. He mentions that his body hurts, but she just says pain is inevitable when learning a lesson. He has no idea how sad she really is. She didn't want him to end up like this, but he's been acting cruel and selfish. He should be bringing pain to others instead of showing tolerance and making everyone hate him. That was the only way he belonged solely to her. But recently, his heart started to change, and that just wasn't going to work. Still, no matter how long it took, she was going to purify him of the love she had, and then they'd be together forever. Then, bam, a barrage of stabs, and he wakes up back in his room. Looks like the protagonist might actually like him better as a villain, but if he goes down that path, his life's going to turn into a complete mess. And if he doesn't, it's already a mess. So what's the guy supposed to do? He starts wondering if that was a dream from the past or maybe a glimpse of the future. After all, that whole vision started when his blood touched the book. Maybe it was a kind of future warning triggered by the wrong choice. When he looks at the book again, it says, "Do not alter fate." He gets it right away. If he went through that whole plan of kneeling 3 times and begging for forgiveness, that would have led to that outcome. Considering how he was tied up and being tortured in that vision, suddenly getting kicked out of the family and becoming a beggar doesn't seem all that bad anymore. Now he's fired up. He's a modern, intelligent guy, and he can use everything he knows to change not only his own fate, but the fate of the entire country. Besides, being an aristocrat isn't even that great. They're all stuck in this tiny little land. He's gonna take control of his destiny with his own 2 hands and stop relying on any of that. That said, there he is, already sitting down, eating some delicious meat, saying to himself how amazing the life of privilege really is, and that losing all this would truly suck. The one sitting beside him is Noyce Campbell, his mother, who honestly looks like she's 18, a Dan woman, and she tells him he looks really happy today. His father, Lon, comments that he's probably just excited about the ceremony tomorrow, since it'll likely be one of the most important moments of his life. He just goes along with it and says, yeah, trying not to raise suspicion. Meanwhile, his mom says she can't let him go to that banquet. Otherwise, all the noble girls will be falling all over him. Lon replies that's not even possible since he has Princess Celia, and any girl who tries something is sure to make her jealous. His mom, acting all cute, says she doesn't like this Celia girl. She wasn't cute at all and didn't deserve her son. Now our boy is just sitting there confused, wondering why his parents have so much faith in him when he was a total jerk. And who the heck is this Celia? That's when it hits him. She's the 3rd princess, the one he tried to drug, which makes her one of the people who'll bring disaster into his life. In the original story, everyone liked her, but here, classic Sundeer. Cold on the outside, warm on the inside. Got it. Moon's feeling down, realizing his parents actually seem like good people. He really was kicked out because he acted like a total bastard, and his dad just didn't want to have a rotten son. But that only motivates him more to change his fate. Even if it's risky, he doesn't want to drag his whole family down with him. The real reason his family ends up ruined is that people believe his father ordered him to kill the princess as a form of betrayal. So what he probably needs to do is take the blame himself and make sure no one else gets involved. Problem is, the ceremony's already tomorrow, and there's no time left to be changing too much. What he finds strange is that if the event is so close, why doesn't he know anything about the drug that's supposed to be used? Is someone going to hand it to him? What's actually going to happen? While he's trying to figure all this out, a maid shows up and he accidentally bumps into her. She falls in a weird way, saying he spilled the madam's black tea. When he goes to ask if she's okay, of course, she flinches, thinking she's about to get chewed out. She sees the tea spilled on him and immediately rushes to clean it, but the moment she notices the mess, she's already convinced her life is over. She's going to get fired and probably be eating dog food on the street by tomorrow. The protagonist realizes that his reputation really does precede him, so he tells her not to worry that he's not going to punish her. What's this? The guy's smooth with it too, pulls her into a hug and tells her to relax. She's all confused, trying to figure out what the young master's doing. Honestly, I'm wondering the same thing. What's with those hands? Then Anne shows up and calls out to him. He asks for the blonde's name, and she says it's Noel. He tells Anne to take care of her, but Anne says she and Noel still need to focus on getting things ready for tomorrow. They can't be slacking off now. He just tells her to hire more people to help. I mean, come on. How does a mansion this massive not have enough staff? Anne just bows and says, all right then. And our smooth talker, as always, buys himself some time as he walks off. Noel comments that it's strange the young master never let anyone help him before because he always said people were dirty, so it's weird for him to suggest that now. Anne adds that she's noticed something strange too. Maybe it would be best to move the plan forward before things spiral out of control. Back in the guy's room, he's searching through all the boxes. A poison that could take down the 3rd princess has to be some kind of high-level, insanely expensive hallucinogenic potion. That's when he finds a black market card. Clearly, it must have been used to buy whatever it was she ended up drinking. The scene shifts to the Chamber's commercial district. It's later at night, and the protagonist tells the others to wait there while he goes off to buy a few things. He moves through the area mostly unnoticed, trying to remember the route from the story. Eventually, he reaches a door and says, sewer rats. He shows his credential, and the guy welcomes him as a guest and tells him to come in. This is the Leopold Black Market. Potions, ingredients, magical creatures, even synthetic ones. And of course, a classic setup, slaves. One of the protagonist's allies was actually purchased from this place. That part's secondary though, because right now he's got bigger problems. He enters one of the rooms and is greeted by someone wearing a cat mask, who immediately asks what he's looking for. They've got every type of potion. He says he wants something that's colorless, odorless, works especially well on mages, and knocks them out for hours. He's probably going to buy it, use it, but won't actually do anything to the girl. Now I'm confused too. He's trying to follow the story, but I honestly don't know what he's planning anymore. The person in the cat mask says he must be looking to have a real fun time. If he wants, she can even recommend a few slaves. He says he's leaving, but she stops him, saying to wait, she'll get the potion. Moon says there's no way to tell if this is a man or a woman, and that's fair. Whoever drew this character sure made it tough. It's scary to even guess, so let's keep it neutral.